Johnson tried to bring that awareness to us in 1939. And the study now has been, I believe, ballyhooed out of proportion and reality. My experience was in 1957. Wendell Johnson's experience was in 1939. Unintentionally, according to one of the young ladies who was involved in the study, a speech pathologist, she believed that Johnson had created a problem of stutterers or stuttering in those who had normal speech. Stuttering is a problem that's waiting to happen to those who are unaware of what normal speech is about, whether it was the young people in that study who were pointed to the fact that they had hesitations and prolongations and repetitions, and they became stutterers later on. This was a situation, in my opinion, waiting to happen. Were they made aware that such hesitations and prolongations and repetitions as are normal, as are part of our speech pattern, which I learned from Dean Williams, who learned it from Wendell Johnson, I've been successful in following with their teachings in helping individuals overcome stuttering, getting them to realize that normal speech is not perfect, and that you don't have to be a perfect speaker to be acceptable in society, just have to be normal, and normal is not perfect. Why do we look to perfection? Perfection is an interesting area to look to. Demosthenes, back in ancient Greek times, is said to have used a pebble underneath his tongue to speak with. That is fable. It's not reality. The interesting aspect is that we live with mythology, and then we create problems from the mythology, unaware that there is a mythology, and we're basing that mythology, creating problems, false identities, and faked personas. What can we do to avoid all of that? Understand what normal speech is about, and that you don't have to be a secret stutterer living in the dark corners of your mind, fearing that one day it will out. Join with me. Speech is what we make of it. We can be normal or we can be abnormal. If we understand what normal speech is about, we can be normal. If we seek perfection, we can become abnormal at any time when somebody, whether it's in childhood or in adulthood, points out to us that we have some problem in speaking, and we become emotionally traumatized, psychologically traumatized, because we don't understand what stuttering is all about. Secret stutterers, are you a secret stutterer? I wager to say that people I talk with over the years, when I ask, do they fear speech? And I ask it in an off-the-cuff, friendly way. I all too often hear people think and say, you know, I think I might be a stutterer. And I ask them why they say that. And they say, I do that a lot. And I repeat. And I said, that is not stuttering. Let me give you the idea of what stuttering is. There's a very clear line between stuttering and normal speech. If you machine gun the word, you're machine gunning, that's stuttering. That's pre-full. If I say the word, I repeat it. If I say like that, that is not stuttering. That's normal. I can repeat. Maybe I could say that. Woody Allen does a lot of that. Yeah. Maybe I would. We don't consider him a stutterer. We don't consider some of the outstanding speakers in our societies stutterers because they repeat. Jimmy Stewart used to do that, but he wasn't thought of as a stutterer. It was a pattern that we liked. Modest, friendly, warm, outgoing. If you do that, that's stuttering. That's preforming the lips and the tongue. Preforming means that we are afraid to use hesitations, prolongations, and repetitions, ahs and ohs. And so people that I speak with, in confidence, tell me, I am a secret stutterer, doctor, and I'm afraid it will show one day. They are not stutterers, and the secret they keep traumatizes them from being who they are. It affects their personality, it affects their jobs, it affects their health, it affects their sleep, it affects them terribly. Because they're leading lives, as Thoreau said, of quiet desperation. They fear being other than who they are, warm, friendly, outgoing. And they have a wonderful personality, but you'd never know that they dread being outed and told, you are a stutterer. So they live very contained, constricted lives, and you'd never know it. Isn't that interesting? Now, if I say that's stuttering, because I'm pushing it and it's a machine gunning of the sound, instead of that is right, that's right, that is not stuttering. The difference between stuttering and normal speech is one is pushed and forced, and the other is easy and friendly, and you're right, and you're right, instead of you see the difference, you hear the difference. The young man who graduated from Stanford and was a stutterer all his life has an interesting end to it, because his father called me after we had ended therapy and told me that his son is not cured of stuttering. And I wondered why his father said that. And I explained to him the difference between stuttering and normal speech. And he said, you know, doctor, when my son was 4 years old, I told him to take out all those hesitations and prolongations and repetitions. And I asked the father why he had done that. He said, well, he was a debater in college, and his coach told him not to have those hesitations, prolongations, and repetitions. They were excessive. But his son, being 4, didn't have the ability to be as he was, the father, when he was 18, to stop using excessive hesitations and prolongations and repetitions. So, in a sense, he had traumatized his young son unintentionally, and in my view, created the stuttering his son had suffered and endured for years, until we outed it and got him to realize that hesitations, prolongations, and repetitions, and all that normal speech is okay. And the son has remained a fine speaker since. What does that say about our information or lack of information about speech? Sometimes what you don't know about a situation and you misjudge it and misconceive it can create a very serious problem. Speech is what we need to survive in our society. If you don't have the ability to speak, you're severely impaired. Why suffer a problem when it's remedial, when there are cures of it, despite the fact those who may be in the field of stuttering say that it's genetic and neurological and incurable? I don't agree. I wrote a book called Change Your Voice, Change Your Life, and I had a segment in there. The book is in the library. It's in the 18th printing, saying that stuttering is curable. It has been cured. And that there are other people in our history, such as Winston Churchill and other named people, who have overcome stuttering. I'm Mort Cooper. Are you a secret stutterer? Don't be. Thank you for joining with me. Bye-bye.